So on your screen right now, you should be seeing a presentation called "You're About to Discover How to Triple Your Sales Without Working Longer Hours or Chasing Prospects." Does that sound like a good idea? I sure hope so. And by the way, if you have friends or teammates or whoever that are in any kind of performance-based career in sales, feel free to tag them. I promise you they will enjoy it. So right now you probably will not be seeing my live face because I want you to see the full screen. Some of these slides have verbiage on them, and I want to make sure you see that. That's more important than seeing my mug. I'll come back to you here in a little bit, but I'm going to be right along with you for the journey. All right. Super quick. What do you hope to get from this training? I'd love to know. What do you hope to get? How would it feel to be closing 3 times more of the prospects you talk to than you currently are? Now, if you're on here, I'm assuming you're attempting to talk to some people. What would it feel like if you were closing 3 times more people, talking to the same amount of people, whatever that number is for you? Would that be great? Would that be fun? Would that be awesome? I seriously hope and want and believe that we can help you get there. I really do believe that. So what would that look like regarding being freer? What would that look like regarding being freer? I was actually reviewing a video of mine from many years ago, and it reminded me of some things. And I still remember the day I left my job, my last job, in April of 2005 and became a full-time entrepreneur. I still remember that. I remember going down the elevator, getting in my car, and just being like, let's go. Like how many, I am curious, just so I know the audience here, how many of you are trying to leave a job? Now, I'm not picking on jobs. If you love your job, awesome. Like nothing wrong with it. But how many of you on here are actually looking like you would like to make enough money in whatever you're selling to leave a job? Maybe you're just looking to travel more, make more money, et cetera. What would that look like? If you were closing 3 times more, how would that make you freer? Maybe freer faster. What we're going to do, you're going to discover how to make this a reality. I'm going to share my 5-step system that typically only my coaching clients learn, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Now, this may seem like an unnecessary slide, but it actually is necessary because I think some of you are on here, you're in a sales capacity, but you're actually not convinced that you can sell. And you're not convinced that sales is the way, and you secretly wish there was any other way to make money other than selling. Be honest, who's that? Who's on here where you have things that you believe in that you can sell, but you're secretly wishing you didn't have to sell? I was close to 6 figures when and that was, 21 years ago. So I was close to 6 figures in my job. And so that's not an easy decision. How many of you have ever played a cash flow? How many of you have ever played cash flow? You actually want to be like the janitor, right? Because it's really easy to get out of the rat race if you have a low income. But when you have a high income, that's when you're the doctor or where you're the attorney or something. That's where it's actually harder to get out of the rat race in the cash flow game. But it is still possible. It is still possible. I hope to help chip away at that mindset. I want you not to wish that you didn't have to do these darn sales. I want you to get more comfortable with selling, because selling is serving. Selling is the highest paid occupation you can possibly have. It just is. I want you to get comfortable with the idea of, instead of dreading selling, getting better at selling. Okay. But I put together some things like why sales. Well, first of all, commission creates uncapped income. There is no limit. There's no limit. And you can't say that. I remember when I was the number 1 income earner of a network marketing company, and we had an income disclosure statement. And if you look at any income disclosure statement, it basically says that a very small amount of people make the largest amount of money. And I remember this, we passed out the income disclosure statements, and this guy says to me, he goes, well, hey, it looks like only a small percentage of people make the big money. And I picked up the income disclosure statement and I looked at it and I said, yeah, this income wasn't even possible in my job. My job didn't even have this as a possibility. The CEO didn't even make this kind of money. It's something you got to realize. You have uncapped income when it comes to sales. The only cap is your mindset and your skill set. Both of those we can help. Both of them we can help. Can I share with you, I didn't actually plan on doing this, but can I share with you a prayer that I say every single day? In fact, I think today I said it 3 times. Can I share that with you? I know some of you may not be prayer warriors. Some of you may not be faith-based. I understand. I don't think this will turn you off. I really don't. I think for some of you, you'll like it. The prayer that I say, Father, thank you for helping me love others. Father, thank you for helping me value others and add value to others. Father, thank you for helping me impact and reach people. And lastly, but not leastly, Father, thank you for helping me bring more people to you. I say that multiple times a day. And like, I really see how we can all best do that is through sales, by representing a product or service that you actually believe in. Now, if you're on here and you don't believe in your product or service, either study and learn some of the testimonials of your product or service, or find something else to sell. Like, we have so many options of things to sell. Like, let's sell things we really believe in. I don't want to make you a sales guru of something you don't even believe in. Like, that would be no good. I feel like that's not a good idea. Why sales? Commission creates uncapped income. There's no limit. Sales rewards skill more than tenure. Now, for those of you who've grown up in corporate America, or you've grown up in a job, that there's some knucklehead in your office that has been there 25 years that is just making what they make because of tenure. They lack skills. You hustle harder than them. You show up before they do. You leave after they're already gone, right? There's people in the corporate infrastructure that they're being rewarded by tenure, certainly not skill. Sales is different. You can come in to any kind of sales job or sales entrepreneur or network marketing or whatever. You can come in and absolutely crush it and be the top of the game very quickly. Very quickly. That should be beautiful. That's a great thing. It's not, well, I got 15 more years of this until I make the good money. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Now, every small improvement compounds. This is such a big deal. I don't think people understand this. If you have someone who's getting 100 leads a day, or however much, 100 leads a month, 100 leads a year, whatever, right? So someone's getting 100 leads and absolutely suck at closing. They're probably going to close somewhere between 2 to 5%. Okay. You have someone that's decent, they'll close about 20%. Someone who's really good, about 30%. But just think about this. If someone goes from 20 to 30% close rate, that's not a 10% increase. That's a 50% increase in your commission. Do you understand that? A 50% increase in your commission. If you go from closing 20 out of 100 to 30, and by the way, it's kind of like baseball. In baseball, if you strike out 7 out of 10 times and you do that consistently year after year, you make the Hall of Fame. If you hit 3 out of 10, you strike out 7 out of 10 times, you go to the Hall of Fame. You're one of the best ever in history. That's incredible. In sales, you close 3 out of 10, you are a very good closer. And I've taught a lot of closers. I've been around a lot of closers. I've been a top closer. I had people in my organization that closed more people than I did. And what I found is the really, really good people typically close about 30%. But going from 20 to 30, that's not a 10% increase. That's a 50% increase in the money that you take home. And by the way, for those who don't know that word tenure means time. So if I want to work my way up in a plumbing company that isn't performance-based, I may have to just be there a very long time. It's not like if I fix sinks really, really good, then all of a sudden I climb the rank faster, right? That's what I mean. Sales rewards skill set more than your time on the job. So hopefully that makes sense. I saw a couple of you ask that question. But if I go from 20 to 30%, that's a 50% increase in my money. Is it a 50% increase in my workload? No, it's not. It's the same workload, but I make 50% more money. Powerful? You guys getting that? Okay. So who likes the idea of unlimited income? Silly question, right? We all do. That's a great idea. To do with whatever we want. Maybe you want to give more money away. Maybe you want to pay off the mortgage for your mom and dad. Maybe you want to buy a car for mom and dad. Whatever, right? Do whatever. I think that with more money, we can do more good. That's what I believe. I really do. And most people will, by the way. If you want to make more money and you don't want to work harder, you're in the right place. Okay. I'm not going to tell you, hey, instead of working 3 hours a day, work 6, right? Yes, that might increase your sales. Yes, you might get more sales, but that's not what we're going for in this presentation. In this presentation, I want to show you some simple strategies that will help you close more of the people you're already talking to. Okay. Stick around to the end, by the way, because I'm going to give you a free gift. Now, some of you, if you paid attention, at least, some of you saw in our emails, and I only said it a few times on social media, so you may have missed this, but at the end, I'm going to give every single one of you a free 41-minute video of me on a whiteboard breaking down exactly what to say during closing. Okay. If they say yes, say this. If they say no, say this. If they say I don't know, say this. If they say no money, say this. Like I break down all these different scenarios, and it just helps you with what to say. And it is 41 minutes. Stick around to the end. Everyone will get that for absolutely free. Since 2017, I've helped our students bring in over 300,000 new customers. I've seen hundreds of our students become absolute heroes in their niches or their companies. It's just been so, so cool. I have people come up to me all the time and they're like, Ray, you helped me and I built a plumbing business, or I built a cabinet business. I mean, it's been really real estate business. It's just been really cool. I love helping people that love their product or service become legends. I love that. One of my early mentors, a guy named Mark Hoverson, and we unfortunately lost him much too early to pancreatic cancer several years ago. And I remember him challenging me, and he said, Ray, I really see you as a kingmaker. I see you as a kingmaker. Just think that way. Like, how can you create kings and queens of industries? How can you create titans? I may not be in someone's life like forever, but to equip someone to go and just absolutely crush it in whatever it is that they love to serve. I've seen our students go from very unskilled to top paid professionals, and it's just awesome. Know that it's possible. I think this is so important for you to understand. It is possible wherever you are, whatever skill set you think you lack, whatever personality trait you think you lack, it is possible for you to succeed. And I really hope you get that. All things are possible with God, and you have talents within you, but we still got to build our skills. You know, it's a psalm. It's in one of the Psalms in the 70 series. It says, David had a contrite heart and skillful hands, right? We are to build our skills. We are to get better at skills. And that's what we're talking about. Selling saved me. I mean, it really did. Selling is what helped me leave the job I hated. I hated that job. I wanted to get out of it. And maybe you're on here and you love your job. Awesome. Like, way to go. Nothing wrong. If you have a job you love, like you're a teacher, firefighter, police officer or something, and you love it, like, awesome. No shame in that. Keep it. Like, great. I just like you having options. I like you having the ability to say, you know what? My body's kind of tired. Maybe I don't need to do this anymore. And you have options. But selling helped me leave the job that I hated. Now, at the time, I was in real estate wholesaling, fixing and flipping, that sort of thing. It helped me leave that job. Selling got me out of foreclosure. My first, probably after the real estate market changed and I got wiped out, my first probably 100 videos was from a house in foreclosure. So if you're going through tough times, I get it. I've been there. Believe me. And I've been there to an extreme. At that point in time, I was over $1 million in debt. And sometimes people come up to me and they're like, Ray, man, you don't understand. I'm 30,000 in debt. I'm like, oh, good for you. Such restraint. I was $1 million. That means the person on the street that's homeless was worth $1 million more than me. I had no assets. I had no savings. I was broke. I mean, I was broke as you could possibly get. Selling is what got me out of that. Selling is what got me out of foreclosure. It got me out of that house. It got me into many nice houses. We won't get into that today, but some of you have seen the pictures. Selling has placed me on stages all over the world. It's been absolutely amazing. I've spoken all over the world. I've shared the stage with just amazing individuals that I never thought I'd be able to. That's because of sales. It's not because of anything else. It's not because Ray's personality is just incredible and infectious and everyone just wants him on a stage. It's because of the results I created through selling. And you can too. Okay. I can guide you to accomplish all these things. God kind of put this on my heart. I think that there are a lot of people out there that want to be spending more time with their kids, that want to make their job more optional than mandatory. And man, it's just really, he's really put it on my heart to help those people, because that was me. I hated asking for permission to take my son to the dentist. I remember having a family vacation scheduled for 6 months and they canceled my vacation. They canceled it because they're like, no, we're in this project. We really need you, Ray. And it's like, you know what? I am not free at all. I believe that there's a lot of people out there that do want to leave their job, and I'd love to help them. Now, here's some myths about sales. Who's this guy? One, you got to be pushy or aggressive. I am never going to teach you to be pushy or aggressive. I'm never, ever going to do it. And you know the number one reason why? Because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We have so many options as consumers. Someone who's pushy or aggressive, it just doesn't work. Maybe you believe that good salespeople are only born, not made. That is not true. I have seen so many of our students that, quite frankly, were not good at sales. And we helped them. They were coachable. You do have to be coachable. They were coachable, and we helped them become good salespeople. Okay. Maybe you think you need to be a certain personality type. Maybe you think you got to be, I'm kind of introverted. Actually, I love training introverts because introverts will rely on systems more than extroverts. Extroverts typically, they lean on their personality. They lean on their energy, which isn't always duplicatable. And some people, like if your manner of selling is convincing others that they too can do what you do, then you're actually at a disadvantage as an extrovert. You actually need to tame that. You need to rein that in. But an introvert, they're naturally going to say, okay, Ray, you're saying talk less. I'm like, yes. And they're like, yeah, I like that. And so I'm going to teach you how to ask better questions than give better presentations. Okay. Which is very introvert friendly. Another myth about sale, you must care about money more than people. That's just not true. In fact, that comes across very clearly. People know when someone is more about the money than helping them, and you don't have to be that way. I don't want to sell anything to anyone that isn't going to help them achieve what they want to achieve or solve what they're trying to solve. I just don't want that. It's not just, hey, how can I get a whole bunch of sales? It's how can I help a lot of people? How can I impact? How can I reach? How can I influence? How can I serve? How can I add value to? That's what I'm looking for. And by the way, when you do that in an unlimited income type capacity, you get compensated. You make a lot of money. That's how it works. And I have several clients right now that have paid me very substantially to help them build out their business, to help them. Like I have a peptide doctor right now that I'm helping. I have a guy that has a real estate app. He's actually going to start acquiring property management companies. I'm helping these guys. I'm giving them ideas. I'm shifting their marketing, helping them think differently. And they compensate me very well. That can be you too, when you add a lot of value. Maybe you think you have to be super confident. Confident's an interesting word. People will buy courses that are like, how to be confident. Well, the truth is, you're not confident about anything you haven't done. You didn't get up on a bicycle and say, I'm confident I can ride this bicycle. And then you rode it all of a sudden. No, you fell down, right? We're only confident about the things that we've done. Now, courage is different. Courage is different. You do have to have some courage. You do have to have courage to ask the questions. You have to have courage to invest in yourself. You have to have courage to move in a direction of bigger impact. You do need courage. You do not need to start with confidence. And it's actually, I believe, impossible. I think it's impossible for you to start with confidence, but you can start with courage. You can have courage to move forward. And that's what you absolutely need. All of that is untrue, just to be clear. Now, here's where we're going to make a little turn. We're going to make a little turn. Can I be blunt with you? Guess what? I'm going to be, regardless of what you say, you don't have time to suck at closing. You don't have the time. You don't have years of sucking at closing that you can just continue doing. You don't have that time. You don't have the luxury. Your kids are growing up. The world's changing. Jobs are being lost. You don't have time to suck at closing. When you get better at closing, every single thing that you do becomes more profitable. Your marketing becomes more profitable. Your conversations become more profitable. Everywhere you go, networking becomes more profitable. Everything you do becomes more profitable if you get better at closing. Now, on the flip side, if I was teaching you lead generation, I know many people that are good at generating leads, but they suck at closing. So they have to generate 10 to 100 times the leads of someone who's just good at closing. Honestly, I think closing is actually easier to teach. I think it's easier to learn. You don't have time. You think you have time. You think that you'll learn this skill. Oh, I'll learn it next year. Or, oh, I'll just keep doing my best and I'll learn it eventually. I'm telling you, I don't think you have time. I don't want to see you out of the game before you get good at this. This is a critical thing. And no matter what you do, you're in financial services, network marketing, you're selling your own coaching, whatever, you don't have time to suck at closing. You really don't. So I hope that makes sense. All right. Every day I meet someone who has a great product or service that they absolutely love, who isn't making the kind of money they should be. They're just not. They're not. It's because of those things that led me to create something called Revenue Mastery, where I look over your sales and marketing every week for 60 days. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I will talk about it, but that is helping people sell more of the product or service they love that would help people. And and just the realization that you don't have time. You don't have time. I had to learn closing. I have learned how to teach closing in the most efficient way that I know how. And because of those reasons, that's why I created Revenue Mastery. So who's this for? Someone trying to leave their job, someone trying to 3x their income in sales, someone sick of feeling like they're constantly chasing people. How many of you have ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like you're just chasing people? I am just a professional chaser, right? You should not feel like a professional chaser. You should not be chasing people. You should not be chasing, begging, or bugging. We don't want you to do that. Don't do it, okay? We're going to teach you how not to do that. Maybe you're someone that has a story that wants to get on bigger stages to make an impact. Some of my backstory, which we won't get into very much, but I did grow up in a very abusive home, but I don't regret it. I know that may sound strange. I've fully forgiven all the parties involved. But if I didn't go through that abuse, I never would have been able to speak to kids in foster care. I don't know how many times now, a dozen, maybe? A dozen times I've spoken to different groups of kids in foster care. And usually it always starts the same. Usually they announce me, I go walk up on stage, and I can just see the skepticism in the kids' faces, right? They're like, who's this white boy? Or who's this guy, right? I share 2 stories and they're like, oh, okay, got it. He gets me. Now, I didn't grow up in foster care, but I did grow up with a lot of abuse, which I wouldn't take away. If I didn't have that part of my story, I wouldn't relate and connect with those kids. There are parts of your story that would be extremely connecting if only you did the work to get in front of people. You got the story. You didn't ask for it. You got the story. You've been through abuse. You've been through trauma. You've been through narcissistic relationships. You've been through health issues. You've been through abandonment. You've been through all these different things, but the people that need to hear that story haven't heard it yet. I want to help equip you become that person who does share that amazing story and does have people writing them emails from all over the world saying thank you. That's what I'm looking for. So here we go. 5 steps to triple your sales. Okay, we're going to go through each and every one. You can take a screenshot if you want. Feel free, but I'm not going to go back. Once I go forward, I'm not going to go back. So feel free to take a screenshot if you want, take a picture, because we're moving forward in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Number 1, your emotions. Your emotions. Okay. Here's a famous quote. I wonder who knows where this is from. No matter how hard the wind blows, the mountain never bows. Anyone know where that's from? I've heard this before, but it's been a while. No matter how hard the wind blows, the mountain never bows. Okay. That is from the Emperor on Mulan, Disney's Mulan. No matter how tough the prospect is on you, or no matter how much they drag you on, or no matter how bad your day is, right? Don't let it affect you. Don't let it affect you. There's the circumstance and then how you feel about the circumstance. Okay. Some of you on here I've actually done private coaching for. And as soon as I hear someone say, oh, I really hope they respond to me, or, oh man, I got one really close. And I get a sense that they have too much attachment to the outcome. I tell them, you need to go prospect 10 more people. Don't be addicted to the result. Don't be addicted to the outcome. Be addicted to your activity. Don't let any one prospect fool with your emotions. You need to be protective of that. Okay. In the absence of progress, fall back on position. So when we're going to expand on position. I know some of you have heard me teach that, but in the absence of progress, fall back on position. So if someone has given you pushback, but they're further along the sales cycle, here's my favorite question. What was the primary reason you were initially interested? What was the primary reason you were initially interested? Now, here's what's magical about that phrase. Number 1 is primary reason. You don't have to know every reason that the prospect was ever interested. If you can just answer the primary reason, they are much more likely to move forward. Now, initially interested is a very safe, low resistance phrase. Everything that I teach you around sales is low resistance. I am not teaching you to be the brick wall. I'm not teaching you to beat people over the head. I'm not teaching you to chase, beg, or bug. None of that stuff. Okay. What was the primary reason you were initially interested? Okay. Very powerful question. Now, there's a famous negotiator out there. He wrote Negotiate This, Negotiate That. He wrote several other books on negotiation. He's like a political negotiator. And he says, when you're negotiating, because sales is a type of negotiation. He says, when you're negotiating, you want to care, but not that much. Now, that doesn't mean don't care about the person. It means don't care about the outcome. Whether they move forward or not, I'm just looking to see who's open. I'm not addicted to the outcome. Now, you may think that that's a conflict. Well, Ray, I signed up because I want triple my sales. What do you mean don't care? The attitude when you're not addicted to the outcome will make you more sales. I didn't develop posture once I was rich. It was me holding posture that helped me make a lot of money. So it's not something that, okay, now I have plenty of money. Now I have a certain status or something like that. Now I can be postured. No. It was having posture when I needed money, like air to breathe, that actually got me more sales. It's not waiting. It's not waiting until you reach a rank or reach an income amount or whatever. It's having posture now, not being addicted to the outcome. And if they don't move forward, so what? It's not a big deal. You can't let your emotions be flinging you this way and that. Is this making sense? You follow me so far? It's step one. Very important step. Helpful. Inbound versus outbound. Now, notice the picture. One's hunting, one's fishing, right? The hunter is going out and seeking, right? That would be your outbound. The fisherman is casting bait, and the fish are willingly grabbing the bait. That's more of the marketer, right? That's more inbound. So inbound is people coming to you, outbound, you going to them, right? Hunter versus fisherman. Inbound, it's faster and easier to get to their problem. How many of you are generating any kind of leads? So the advantage and beauty of inbound, meaning they're coming to you, is it grants you the green light for you to ask them, what made you click? What made you reach out? What are you hoping to solve? What problem are you struggling with? It is definitely an advantage. There's no question. Okay. So when they're reaching to you, don't just go through your script or whatever. Like, ask them a question. Hey, what made you reach out? What are you hoping to get help with? Maybe I can help, right? It is faster and easier to get to their problem. Outbound, it is slower. It's slower to get to the problem. So if I reach out to someone, I say, hey, would you be open to take a look at what I'm doing to make extra money? And they say, okay, well, what is it? And I say, well, why are you interested? See, that just doesn't feel right. It's kind of weird. Outbound, it's slower to get to the problem, but there's lots of them, right? It's an unlimited. You can literally reach out to almost an unlimited amount by switching platforms and building up the muscle of direct messaging. You could reach out to lots and lots of people. I remember we did a little experiment several years ago. My personal Facebook, it would only allow me to send like 20 messages. And I had a guy doing this, and I said, okay, try to build it up. Like, let's see what we can do. The first day he sends 20 messages, he gets a message, so he stops. And the next day, 20 again. And the next day, 22. And then the next day, a little bit more. It took us about 3 months. But at month 3, we were sending 250 messages a day. Now, that's just one platform, right? You could have split that amongst Instagram or whatever. And if you are someone who is just prone, like maybe your account has been labeled or blacklisted or something like that, then you got to be really careful, right? If you're someone that's prone to go to Facebook jail often, obviously be careful with that. We don't want that. But there is a difference in how you communicate to inbound versus outbound. In Revenue Mastery, we teach you how to greatly increase your inbound. In fact, the first thing we look at in Revenue Mastery is I look at your tagline and I help you come up with a tagline that is clear, persuasive, and attracting. And that's like one of the very first steps that we do. But it does something else too. When you have a clear tagline, that becomes your mantle of what your content should look like. Like your tagline isn't just to attract people. It's also to drive your content. It's also to have this mantle of what kind of content should I be creating? Very powerful. And it is more based, I know some of you have been taught, find your target market, find your avatar, find your niche. It's actually more of around the problem you're solving. This is a much more meaty thing than trying to be so specific on your avatar or target market. So it's a little different than how some people teach. So one example of someone I helped, Samara, she said the shift was immediate. I worked with Ray both one-on-one and have hired him to train my team on multiple occasions. When he came to mentor my downline in person, the shift was immediate. He gave my team actionable tools and the mindset breakthroughs they needed to finally run their business with confidence and posture, and I experienced rapid growth and duplication in my organization. In fact, with her, I helped her in 2024, and certainly not just from my own, but 2025 was her first $1 million year. And oh, by the way, she was a waitress for 13 years. She got let go during the pandemic. How cool is that? Now, she worked her butt off. I didn't do the work for her. I guided her, gave her some suggestions. She ran with it, and she's an absolute rock star. Step number 3, warm versus cold. How many like the image? This is the skeptical grandma. Skeptical grandma. All right. Here's a quote. It's from a friend of mine, a guy that I really enjoy, a friend of mine named Mike Dillard. And Mike Dillard, he said, you should only prospect warm market when you don't care if they buy or not. Okay. You should only prospect warm market when you don't care if they buy or not. That is truth. That is absolute truth. I am a big fan of warm market. Okay. I'm a big fan of you seeing who in your warm market is open. I am not a big fan of you being addicted to them joining or buying from you. Don't do it. Don't be the no friends left league. Like, don't do that. It's just terrible. Cold pretty much requires strong posture. Now, what's the difference? Because there's probably someone on here who doesn't know the difference. Warm market, friends and family, people that know you know them. Cold, they do not know you. That's simple. Very easy. Okay. Cold, you need to have posture. The reason that a lot of you aren't making more sales is you're too soft when it comes to your cold prospects. You're too soft. You need things like the 3-step follow-up, right? Which many of you, I've taught you. We won't go into that because I've taught it so many times. Warm is different. I'll actually give you the follow-up for warm. So how many of you have ever had a friend or family member ghost you? You ever had that? What if I give you a line that will get them to respond? Now, I can't guarantee it'll make them buy, but it'll at least get them to respond. How many of you have had a friend or family member just totally ghost you? Like, it's like so rude, so rude. Okay. Here's what you say. It's playful. It's kind of fun. It is not insulting, but it does call them out a little bit. Okay. For warm market, if they're ghosting you, you just reply to them and say, I guess I'm going to put you down as a no, LOL. I guess I'm going to put you down as a no, LOL. You say that. My stats, 90% response. Now, keep in mind, they were ghosting me. I got a 90% response when I said, I guess I'll put you down as a no, LOL, because people don't like being fully called out. And that is a call out. It's a little gentle, playful call out. There you go. Right there. That will help a lot of you. Okay. Guess I'll put you down as a no, LOL. Now, if they ignore that, they really don't care about your opinion. Maybe move on. Here's another one. Christy Morgan. She went from stagnant in her business to over $100,000 in personal commissions in less than 90 days. She's so kind. She's had a lot of mentors too. But Christy says, Ray's the best mentor. He's helped me up-level my leadership, grow myself, grow a new team, inspire my wider team. Our community absolutely love him. Everyone hangs on every word he has to say. He's been the biggest blessing. And now loads of my team are working with him. I highly recommend Ray as a personal mentor, and for team mentoring, he's the best. Thank you, Christy. You're amazing. Step number 4, posture and position. Now, I'm not going to go all into spend a lot of time on this. I've taught this quite a few times. Posture and position is part of the 4 Ps. Okay. So there's pipeline, posture, position, and perspective. Okay. But I want to give you some extremely applicable things to do. And this is one of the biggest things. If you're feeling anxious with a prospect, whether it's on DM, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's on a phone call, whatever, if you're feeling anxious, don't push forward. Don't try to talk about your features and benefits. Don't try to talk about how great it is or any of that kind of stuff. Okay. Step back and ask a question. Now, usually the most powerful type of question is related to position. So position is not where you are, because hopefully you believe in your product or service. Hopefully you have it tattooed all over your body and you love it, love it, right? But what's the position of the prospect? So there's a position that you should actually have a pretty high close rate on, and that is someone who's watched a presentation. So if you incorporate presentations into your sales process, whether it's real estate, whether it's financial planning, whether it's network marketing, whatever, if you incorporate a presentation and they have consumed a presentation, that should actually be a pretty high close rate. Why? Because no one is willy-nilly going around watching presentations. It means they're looking for something. It means there's some kind of problem they're trying to solve. Okay. When you're feeling anxious, don't move forward, because you're going to stumble, you're going to stutter, you're going to come out, you're going to say too much, you're going to blabbermouth, you're going to commission breath, right? You're going to screw it up. So when you feel anxious, okay, step back, ask a question. Could be, what was the primary reason you're initially interested? It could be that, because I'm looking to make more money. Well, why are you looking to make more money? Step back and ask a question. Okay. If you can't move forward, what had them take the last step? Okay. So I've closed hundreds and hundreds of people who hated the presentation. They hated it. They said, this is a terrible presentation. I don't like it. But I closed them anyway. How? Because I asked them, I said, well, what were you hoping to see? What were you hoping to see? So notice I'm asking what drove them. I'm not asking, I'm not going to say, well, why'd you watch it? I'm going to ask it differently. I'm going to say, what were you hoping to see? I'm going to ask a what question, not a why question. A why question can be tricky. You need to be careful with that. It's kind of a loaded gun there. Be careful with saying, well, why'd you watch it? Or why'd you come then? Right? Don't do that. Why can get you in trouble, right? Be careful with that loaded gun of why, but what? What were you hoping to see? What made you take a look? What were you initially interested in, right? What was the primary reason you were initially interested? What question's a little bit safer? When you come to a stalemate and you can't just move forward. If someone tells you that presentation absolutely stunk, you can't say, great, let's move forward. You want 2 of them, right? You can't do that. So in the absence of progress, you fall back on position. Okay. Match their energy. And this is counterintuitive. Okay. It's counterintuitive. Don't lean in when they're leaning away. So let me give you some examples. Okay. Someone says to you, well, I just don't know that I have the time. Some of you would say, oh, it only takes minutes a week. You only need 2 minutes a week. It's it. Some of you like, don't be duped. If someone's pulling away, most likely need to ask different questions, not push your solution. So instead of saying, if someone says, yeah, I just don't have the time, instead of saying, well, it only takes minutes a week, right? Instead of saying that, which is nonsense, right? Silly. Instead of that, you would say something, well, okay, got it. You don't have the time. Well, you mentioned to me that you had this problem. How is that optional or is that something you really need to solve? Well, if you don't do this, how will you solve it? Help them realize that their problem isn't going away. And remember my talk about inbound, outbound, that kind of helps you guide on when you can find out their problem. Step number 5, ruthless listening. Now, why would I have Judge Judy on here? Does anyone know? I love Judge Judy. She's amazing. I know she has a house in Naples, Florida, where we used to live. Does anyone know why I use Judge Judy? Listening ears, right? Listening ears, right? She says, you got to put on your listening ears. Haven't you heard her say that? Right? She goes, listening ears. And she makes this exact sign. She goes, listening ears. I will never teach you to be ruthless, except when it comes to listening. Now, I'm going to give you some scenarios. Let's see how you do. So scenario number 1, a prospect says to you, and I have troubleshot 100 hours of this kind of stuff. Okay. I have spent so much time helping people with their conversations and helping them hone in on what's actually going to help them close versus what's not. Okay. So scenario 1, the prospect says to you, honestly, I was just looking for something to make extra money outside of my crappy job, but I just don't think I have the time to learn all this. How do you respond to that? Okay, so I'll let you simmer on that. I'll let you simmer. How do you respond to that? Let's see how you respond. Scenario number 2. I'm barely seeing my kids with the way I'm working, and I just don't know if I can sell the same way you do. Okay, scenario number 2. So how do you respond to that? Okay, scenario number 3. I don't have the money to get started now that I've seen the presentation. Well, let me teach you the keys to these 3, because these are very common. Has anyone ever seen a scenario at least similar to one of these 3, or perhaps all 3? These are very similar scenarios. Guys, these are all scenarios you could be closing if you focus on the right thing, okay? Scenario number 1, most of you would try to tackle, I don't have time, versus why is it a crappy job? See, I won't even look. I don't even care that they said, I don't think I have the time to learn all this. I care that they said crappy job. I'm going to say, what makes it crappy? Like what don't you like about it? I am going to invest in expanding the problem. I'm not trying to expand my solution. I'm trying to expand the problem. I'm going to get them to share with me what exactly is crappy about the job. And if there's hesitation there, here's a magical phrase. This is a money phrase. If there's hesitation on sharing, like, by the way, no one just says crappy job unless they actually want to share more. So it's a clue. You got to pay attention to the clue. You have to be ruthless at listening and looking for their problem, not the objection. See, the objection is not the problem. Let me clarify. Okay. Let's hone in on this. You think that the problem is they don't have the time. That's not a problem, because if they don't purchase, it's no problem at all. If they don't move forward, then they got plenty of time. But most would focus on the lack of time. That's a mistake. The crappy job is going to stay whether they move forward or not. Now, if I say, tell me more about the crappy job, like, why is it crappy? And they'll go, I'll just say, well, if you let me know, maybe I can help. Now, this is a very powerful phrase. Maybe I can help. Maybe I can help lowers defenses. It say, oh, they're on my side. Oh, they're actually trying to help. Now, to be honest, they may think that we're out of the sales conversation, which if I believe in my product or service, we're never out of the sales conversation. Because how am I going to help you be free? By what am I going to do? Just talking to you? No, I need to give you a platform to run on to become free. You see? So I have to care enough to ask the tougher questions. I have to be ruthless in my listening and locating their actual problem. The problem is not the objection. That's not the problem. You think it is, it's not. The problem is, what are they dealing with in their life that they're putting up with? And how long have they been putting up with it? And how long are they going to continue living a life that they don't love? That's a problem. And that's a problem we can help. You got to believe that. You got to be bold. You got to be courageous. You got to ask the questions. Scenario number 2, I'm barely seeing my kids. How old are the kids? I am not, most of you, I know on here we can be bold and everything, but as soon as you're in a prospecting conversation, you're going to fall for, no, I teach you how to sell like I do. I give you systems and processes just like me. They don't actually care. They care about seeing their kids. So how old are your kids? Ideally, how often would you like to see them? Ideally, how much time would you spend with them? Is that something optional or is that something you really need to do? Now with this, if you don't do anything, will it get better or worse? You learn to ask that question more, you'll find no problem is going to get better if they don't do anything. And they all know it. But you haven't called it out because you're falling for the red herring of whatever objection they're throwing. So you're trying to convince them that, yeah, you can sell like me. I teach you exactly how to do it. They actually don't care about that. They care about, man, I wish I could see my kids more. Now, they may word it a little differently, and they may not word it in the same sentence, but you have to be ruthless at listening from the very get-go. So think about this. If they're inbound, you learn their problem as quickly as possible, and you remember that. You remember it. Toward the end, if they give you a pushback, say, you know what, when we first talked, you mentioned spending more time with your kids. Now, is that something that's optional or is that something you really need to do? Do you have a plan for it? If you don't do this, how will you be able to do that? These are unfair questions. Now, the third one I threw out there because I just seen how you'd react. It's a little bit different, right? There's a little bit different format. I don't have the money to get started now that I've seen the presentation. You could certainly go the route of, well, if you had the money, could you move forward, right? You could. But what would be more powerful is say, okay, got it. Well, you took the time to watch your presentation. Like what was the primary thing you were looking for? If I find out the problem and I expand the problem and I help them realize that it's important to them, they're much more likely to buy my solution. And by the way, this whole, I don't have the money, I've said this, at, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 different presentations that I've done in front of large groups at company events. I've said, how many of you didn't have the money to get started? Over 50% raised their hand. Over 50%. What does that mean? It means that people are lying. It means that people that don't have the money still move forward and they do it often. Or over 50% wouldn't be raising their hands. Ooh, that was a money slide right there. Who needed to hear that? Who needed any of that, all of that, some of that? That was a money slide. But see, if I just show you this, right, that's not the money slide. The explanation of what to focus on. So it's not just, hey, let me enter this into AI and it will give me a great answer. By the way, most of the answers from AI are absolutely terrible. I've seen them. They're terrible. Most of them. Honing in on their problem is always going to be the answer. It's always going to be the answer. Okay. Bonus. I told you 5. I'm going to give you 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Bonus. Step number 6, live life on your terms. When you know how to close, you can change any circumstance in your life. You really can. It's true. Set your own hours, quit that job if you want. I'm not a guy that picks on jobs because there's some jobs that people love. You know, teachers, firefighters, police officers, there's people that love their job. Like leave them alone. Like let them love their job. It's not a big deal. Spend more time with their family. Maybe you want to give or do more with charity. Maybe you want to give more, or maybe you want to do more. Maybe you want to travel around, dig some water wells, whatever. When you know how to close, you are able to live life on your terms. You absolutely can. Okay. Or travel the world. Some of you are into travel. I love traveling. It's great. Who likes that idea? All right. Now, before we get to Q&A, and we will get to Q&A. And also remember, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you that free 41-minute video all about closing. If you liked that step number 5, where I kind of broke down what to say, you're definitely going to love that. And I'm going to give it to you for free. And so the answer for the third scenario was to focus on why they watched the presentation versus the money. Why did they watch the presentation? Okay. All right. So before we get to Q&A, is it okay to quickly, I mentioned to you early the details of Revenue Mastery. So Revenue Mastery is a brand new program we launched. Right now, I think we have 4, maybe 5 people in it. I just launched it. You're the first to actually see this, everyone on here. I'll quickly go through it. Some of you, it'll make sense for. Some of you, it's fine. You'll just be here for the Q&A and the free download. But before we get to Q&A, hopefully it's okay to share with you quickly the Revenue Mastery. So Revenue Mastery is our brand new coaching program. It's a group coaching program, and it has 6 different modules, and we actually meet once a week as a group. I review your sales and marketing. I review your tagline. I review your content. We look at conversations. It's really cool. But the modules, which are already recorded, you get instant access to. Module 1 is sales and closing, the framework for closing with confidence. Module 2, warm market, every single thing you need to know about the right way to sell to people that you know. Module 3, the absolute playbook for prospecting anyone. This is all cold market. Module 4, marketing, the system for getting more inbound, the system for turning content into conversations. I have been doing that for many, many, many years. We've generated over 450,000 emails from our content. We've generated over $30 million from our content. I show you what is the very best way that's working right now for you to convert content into conversations, which also gets to sales. Module 5, we get into a daily routine, the non-negotiables of a top earner. And Module 6, the inner game of sales, the foundation for closing. If you're struggling with sabotage and mindset issues, you may actually skip and do Module 6 first, because that will help clear up some of the things that may be slowing you down. Now, we also, for 2 full months, we meet each week. I meet with my Revenue Mastery students in a group session to mentor them, audit their sales conversation and marketing. If that would be helpful and valuable to you, hopefully the answer is yes. You'll learn how to generate more leads and close more of the sales that you are missing. The live calls, by the way, you may want to write these down if this is of interest to you. It takes place on Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. You do get lifetime access to every call. Whether you're on or not, you do get lifetime access to every call. But that is every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, very intimate group, and we have an absolute blast. So there you go. Okay. Remember, you don't have time to suck at closing. I just want to remind you of that. You don't have time to suck at closing. You can take 5-6 years to learn this stuff, or you can take 60 days. And I can streamline this, or we do streamline this. In 60 days, you will be a different closer. We see it in our Revenue Mastery students already, and you can see that too. Okay. So bonuses. I have some bonuses. And I got a kind of funny story about this one. So the big bonus here is my Presenting for Profits course. I actually watched this today, and I was so blown away. I'm like, this is so good. I did make this a long time ago. I don't believe that I have a course that I've created. And my first course I ever created was in 2010. So for 16 years, I've been creating courses. I don't think I have another course that's created more 6-figure earners than this course right here, of people that were not 6-figure earners that became 6-figure earners. Presenting for Profits is step-by-step, word for word, how to craft a compelling presentation. Now, this is probably above where some of you are right now, but I'm preparing you for what happens when you become a good closer. When you become a good closer, you are going to be asked to speak in front of groups, and you can choose to or not. For me, it means group impact. For me, it means I'm one to many, and I get to impact more people. Right now, we have 255 people on here live through all my different channels. I teach you step-by-step, word for word, how to craft a compelling presentation. I actually shared, this is interesting. I didn't remember I did this. This is one of the reasons I wanted to watch it. I share the actual slides and break them down step-by-step of a presentation I did that made me $800,000 in less than 2 weeks. Now, let's be honest, a lot of you aren't there yet, okay? If someone was showing me this slide when I was newer to sales, I would have been like, what? What are you even talking about? But boy, would I be curious on what does that even look like? Like how does that happen? Bonus number 2, how to be a rock star speaker. When you get good closing, you are going to be asked to speak more. I want you to be prepared. So how do you stand out? How do you work the crowd even if you're nervous? What footwork is important? People don't talk about that stuff. What should you avoid saying? That's in how to be a rock star speaker. Bonus 3, closing with confidence. All the scripts, all the different scripts on closing, everything you need to close more sales, regardless of your status or where they came from. This is one you'll most likely listen to over and over. And so Revenue Mastery, it comes, the retail value of Revenue Mastery, the calls and the modules is $3,997. Presenting for Profits, we do not sell anymore. That's kind of in the vault. I have so many people that's made so much money from that. We could sell that for $5,000. And I watched the presentation today. I haven't watched it in years. I watched it today. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to name any names, but in the about 2 months ago, I bought a $15,000 program on webinars, on how to run webinars, how to sell on webinars, et cetera. And after going through 25 to 30 modules of it, I'm like, this is not great. This is just not that good. And I'm not going to tell you who did it. It's actually two very popular guys. But what they did was they told you what to do, but not how to do it. And then when you go to try to learn how to do it, it's an extra cost. I paid 15 G's for this thing. I'm like, why are you trying to upsell? Why are you trying to get me to buy $1,000 AI prompt? Like, what the heck? I just went back. I kind of felt in prayer, to be honest. I felt like I need to watch my own thing that I did. I watched it. I'm like, this is so good. It's step by step. It's amazing. Anyway, bonus 2, Rockstar Speaker, closing with confidence. So that's $9,000 of retail value there. But here's the real question. And seriously, you look at the cost of college. I look at the different mentors that I've hired along the way. Would it be worth a one-time payment of almost $10,000 to create the life of your dreams? I know not everyone wants to answer it, right? I know not everyone wants to answer this thing because he's trying to sell me, right? You're trying to learn sales and you're like, he's trying to sell me. I know not everyone wants to answer this, but the answer is yes. It just is. It's yes. If something's going to make me a better closer, and closing helps every action I ever do make more money and make more profits, and I don't have time to look at closing, then a $10,000 check one time is absolutely worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And the question is, how many more years will you spend wishing for your goals and dreams? How many more are you going to be in that situation, living either check to check or month to month, or being shackled to a job that pays you well but you can't stand? I don't believe life is a dress rehearsal. I really don't. If I trust in a salary, or if I trust in something but I don't like it, that's not me trusting in God. That's me trusting in the thing. That's me trusting in the salary, or trusting in the pension, or trusting in the retirement, or trusting in whatever. How many more years? How many people do you see that they talk about their dreams and goals, and then years and years later, they still haven't got there? They haven't even moved very much closer. That's most people. There's been over a dozen times, I actually didn't count them, but I know it's over a dozen, probably 20, that I've invested more than $10,000 in my education for less than what's contained in this program. But what if I can make it a little easier of an investment? What if I cut the investment by about half and you can get started for $5,000? How would that be? Would that make more sense? Well, before we get to Q&A, and also I still owe you that free download. I promise I'm going to give it to you, right? I have two last things to share. Right now, we're doing our back to school initiative. Our kids go back to school next week. I don't know about you. My head of marketing, his kids went back to school this week. Our kids go back to school next week. I don't know about you. Don't know if you even have kids, but those of you with kids, I know it's right around this time where your kids are probably going back to school. I suspect that some of you want to really take this seriously, and you want this year to be different, and you've been traveling, or you've been dealing with the kids, or whatever. You've been doing all kinds of stuff, right? And you're ready to get serious now that school is starting back soon, or maybe already has for you. You can get every single thing I talked about tonight for a one-time investment of only $2,997, or we even have a payment plan. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for you, less than $3,000, or if a payment plan works for you, you can do the payment plan. That's me. Keep in mind, that's me working with you every single week for 2 months. You get access to the modules, you get access to the bonuses. I'm looking over your marketing, I'm looking over your conversations, all of that. I'm with you the whole way. And in 2 months, you are going to be a different closer. I promise you. And the fact that there's accountability, you have to show up every week. So for some of you, you're just not doing the work and you have no one to be accountable to. You are not going to invest the money into this program and then show up each week and be like, yep, I didn't do the work again. But if you're not in this program, there's a heavy chance that that'll happen. That each school year, it'll be just like last school year. Revenue. So real quick recap. So Revenue Mastery, the retail is $39.97. Present for Profits, $49.97. $197 for Rockstar Speaker, $197 for Closing Confidence. That's $9,388. Tonight, $2,997 or choose the payment plan. Now, If you want to learn the payment plan, go over to higdongroup.com/start. And that page will list, because I know I kind of went through the bonuses quickly, right? I know that some of you have questions. Some of you are here for the free download. Like, let's help you out. And higdongroup.com/start. It has everything that I've talked about. It has the payment plan information on it. higdongroup.com/start. And oh, by the way, it also has the free download. So at the very top, it has your free download of the whiteboard session with me. Whether you move forward with Revenue Mastery or not, at least get your free download. Okay. And that's higdongroup.com/start. That's higdongroup.com/start. Almost $10,000 worth of value, $2,997. Or you can do the payment plan. higdongroup.com/start. At the top is your free download. Simply, and then if you are wanting to move forward with Revenue Mastery, just fill out the form below. You do not have to fill out anything for the free download. So if you're here and you're like, for whatever reason, I am not able to do it, not able to move forward, get the free download. Like, why not? And that's higdongroup.com/start. And so many MLM companies are broke. Is it really worth trying to build when so many collapse? Not all of them. Not all of them are broke. In fact, there's an interesting thing going on in the industry where I think people are more and more skeptical of brand new, and you see a lot of more legacy companies thriving. You see a lot of companies that have been around for 5, 6, 7, 8 years or more. You're seeing a resurgence of some of those more legacy companies or companies that aren't just brand new. It is, and some of you aren't going to like me for saying this. I'm sorry, but it is a bit of a gamble to start with a new company. Now, that being said, I joined a company that was in pre-launch and became their number one income earner. But it is a bit of a gamble. It's a little bit more of a gamble than an established company. But even with an established company, you're not guaranteed. So what do you do then? You build your skills. Because what you build in your skills stays with you. So if I get better at closing, anywhere I go, I'm going to be better at closing. And the way that I always tell people is, instead of looking over your shoulder of, is this thing going to collapse or this thing going to collapse? Serve. I'm just going to bust this out, but Jesus said, who by worrying has added 1 minute to their life? A lot of wisdom there. Instead of looking over my shoulder or thinking, I wonder how long this will last, I would just be the best darn leader I can possibly be and improve my skill set to be the best darn closer I can possibly be. That's what I would focus on. And at the company close, the people that I've led and served, they're gonna want to work with me. They are. Like, was I aware that it was closing? No, right? They're gonna want to work with me. And I take my closing skills and I mosey on down the road and go build. When you saw this with people like my friend Sarah Robbins, she didn't just up and leave a company. She had her company change direction, and she went to another company. And I believe she's crushing it more now than she was. Why? Good leadership. She's a good leader, and she has skills. She's got good skills. Don't not be those things in fear of closing. Okay. So I hope that helps. Let me tell you my favorite 10-minute one-on-one. Here's my favorite. So many years ago, we were selling our book called Time, Money, Freedom. And this is the book we published with Hay House. And it's a very meaningful book. Both my wife and I wrote this. And we were doing everything in the book to sell copies of this. Okay. We put these Willy Wonka golden certificates in them. Like every 30, 50 bucks, we would put a little golden certificate. And if you got one of those, you got a 10-minute call with me one-on-one. Same thing that I'm offering tonight. This lady gets a certificate, calls me. I got 10 minutes, right? That's it. I get on. Now, she has been stuck. She tells me she's been stuck at $500 a month for 4 years. She has not made more than $500 a month in her company for 4 years. Now, I don't know about you, but it's not that great. It's not that great. And I asked her a couple questions and she said, I just don't want to disappoint anyone. That's where I kind of took my jump, right? And I said, because I know if you have a pattern, it's a belief problem. If you have a pattern, it's a belief problem. So if you have an upper limit thing where you can't make past a certain amount, or if you really struggle with inconsistency and you just you get excited and then if that's a pattern, it's a belief problem. Always is, 100%. And by the way, 99 times out of 100 comes from childhood. You don't need 30 years of therapy. I know the questions to ask. She says she's been stuck at $500 a month, 4 years. Okay. And she said, I just don't want to disappoint anyone. I said, okay, well, who disappointed you as a kid? And she said, well, maybe not disappointment, but shame. I'm like, Okay. What do you mean? And she said, well, my mom was a prostitute. And in that moment, and this is not something I learned. I think this is something God gave me. In that moment, I think I know the problem. But I got to ask more questions. I said, okay, do other people know that? Do other people know that your mom was a prostitute? And she goes, oh, yeah, they know. They all know. And she's still alive. What an interesting question. Or what an interesting answer, I should say. I said, I know your problem. And she's like, what? My problem? What do you mean? I didn't ask her scripts. I didn't ask her routine. I didn't look at her tagline. I didn't look at her marketing. I didn't look at her Facebook banner or her glamour shots. I didn't look at how she uses ChatGPT. I didn't look at her product, her service. Didn't know what products or service she was in. I said, I know your problem. And she goes, I mean, it probably sounded absurd. She goes, what do you mean? You know my problem. I said, your problem is that you believe if you reach your potential, that the people around you will be jealous, and to bring you down to size, they'll bring up your mom's past, which you would do anything to prevent her from feeling shame. And she's like, oh my God, I never thought about that. You're right. And I said, but there's another way to look at it. This may be why you're scared. I said, but there's another way to look at it. And that is your mom did a lot of things she didn't want to do for you to have a better life. And it's kind of a slap in the face that that's the reason you're not. I'll be honest. I was nervous about that one. That one I was nervous about. That one I was like, I knew it was accurate. No question. I knew it was accurate. I knew it was the actual problem, but maybe I got there too fast. I mean, this was in 10 minutes. It was like minute 9. And she starts crying. I forget how we end the call. And I'm honestly, I'm concerned. I'm like, I might have gone too fast too soon. I text her the next day. I said, hey, how you doing? And she responds, she goes, I had a talk with my mom last night and it's on. In 90 days, she was at 90,000 in volume in her company, becomes a 6-figure earner, becomes a multiple 6-figure earner, becomes a best-selling author, and speaks all over the world. Her name's Di Carter. That was a 10-minute call. That's my current favorite. I would love to have a new favorite. Don't be scared. I'm only going to say something that's going to serve you. I'm not going to say anything to beat you up. More questions. So hunter versus fisherman. So a hunter in that scenario was they're the prospector. I'm going out. I'm looking for people to prospect. The fisherman is casting bait and seeing who bites. So he's not in there stabbing fish, so he's not the prospector. He's more the marketer, right? So we teach you to be both. We teach you to be the fisherman. How do you create content that gets people to bite and gets people to reach out to you? But in the meantime, if you're not getting bites, if you're not getting leads, go get the leads. So you're never waiting, ever. Does that make sense? Does that help you? And then again, just remember, in case you miss something, higdongroup.com/start if you want to get all the details on revenue mastery and move forward, or you just want the free download. We got the free download at the very top of that page. So if your company closes in 15 years, you have put 15 amazing years into it. Yeah. Keep in mind also, this is kind of more of a wealth tip, is you have how you make money, however that is, and then what you do with your money. How do you steward that money? I see a lot of people that make $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month. And then if the company closes, they're somehow broke. It's like, what were you doing with all that money? Like, didn't you stock some away? Didn't you invest some? Didn't you get some dividends or something, right? Like, it's kind of crazy. Just remember, you got 2 businesses, the business that makes you active income, and then the business of your money. How do you take your money and have it make money? How do you have it multiply? How do you be a good steward? When someone says, let me run this by my spouse, okay? My advice in that scenario is to tell them to ask for support, not permission. So if I'm talking to someone and say, hey, let me run this by my spouse, I'm gonna say, okay, cool. Well, let me coach you around that. Is this something you actually want to do? Now, sometimes they'll say, I don't know. Like, okay, then your spouse is going to protect you and they're going to say no. If you're not sure you want to do it, going to your spouse is not going to help. It's going to solidify you should not do it, right? But if you know you want to do it, then go and ask for support, not permission. Say, hey, I want to do this thing. They're going to teach me exactly how to do it. And I would like, you don't have to be involved, but I would like your support in this decision. You go with that. And it reminds me of, we sold 2 houses ago. We sold a house in Naples, giant profit. I mean, it was amazing. My wife is very smart at real estate. She is our real estate guru. Multiple 7-figure profit. Okay. She did well. And she comes to me after and she goes, hey, and at the time she was renting a horse she loves horses. She competed horses. She's amazing with horses. She loves being up here in Tennessee. She says, hey, I'd like to buy a horse. Right. I don't know if she even said it that way. She said, I want to buy a horse. And I said, okay, well, if you buy a horse, that'll reduce our stable fees, right? She goes, no. I'm like, oh, okay. She goes, no, they still got to feed it and everything. I'm like, okay, well, it'll reduce this, right? No. Okay. Are you going to compete with it? Yeah, I'll probably compete with it. Okay. If you compete and you win, then we'll make money. No, not really. Okay. Is there any scenario that you buy this horse and it makes any financial sense? No. I'm like, okay, well, enjoy the horse. She wasn't asking for permission. She was asking for my support. And I loved to give her that support. I had some questions, right? But what will happen is if someone says, hey, I talk to my spouse and they're not sure, that spouse 100% of the time is going to protect them from a bad decision. And spending money, bad decision, if you're not sure. I would just train my prospect on that and teach them the difference between support and permission. That's what I would do. I wouldn't insult them. I wouldn't say, oh, what do you gotta ask him if you want to buy shoes? Like, I hate all that stuff. I don't like any of that stuff. I know some people teach that stuff. I don't like that. So this is similar to scenario number 3 and step number 5 that I covered. So if someone says, hey, they love the presentation, but they're too busy or they have too much going on right now. So we need to focus on the problem, not the objection. So don't say, it only takes minutes a day, whatever. Don't say any of that stuff because that's not the actual problem. They don't have that problem if they don't move forward, right? So we're not teaching them, we're not helping them overcome a problem that isn't a problem unless they move forward. That doesn't make any sense. You would just say, hey, how long will you not have any time? What is your plan to have more time in your life? And that's going to be a question they've never been asked. And they're going to be like, what do you mean? Well, you said that you don't have time. Okay, I understand. What is your plan for gaining more time? When will you have more time? And this is especially powerful if you have an offer that creates residual income, because the way to more time is more residual income. If you had residual income coming in, month out, whether you roll over in bed or out of bed, guess what? You got more options. You got more freedom. No question. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch. If someone said they don't have the time, I say, well, what's your plan for having time? How long will that be a problem? Will that get better if you don't do anything? Do you have a way to create time? Now, if you don't, then you need something like this more than I thought. You need some kind of way to create leverage and create passive income, create residual income, or else you're going to just work and just collapse one day. I hope that helps. When you're being ghosted, how long do you wait before you send out your script about taking them off the list? Sooner than you think. One of the ways to make more money faster is to get faster at your replies. Don't let this stuff drag out. If you notice, the 3-step follow-up is it starts gentle. It doesn't go harsh right away, right? Step 3 is harsh, right? It's postured. But so if I've asked a question and it's been a day or two and I know that they saw it because they got the little tattletale face in the bottom I'm talking about, and I'm going to say, hey, I haven't heard from you. Are you still trying to blank? Right? You're still trying to make extra money. Are you still trying to save on travel? Are you still trying to get healthier? Are you still trying to whatever it is y'all are selling, whatever the benefit is. Okay. And then if they don't answer the next day, hey, haven't heard from you. Should I go ahead and mark you off the list? And then the day after that, hey, haven't heard from you. I'm going to go ahead and mark you off the list. Just ask yourself, if you're a partner in a $50 million a year law firm, how quickly are you letting people go? Are you dragging it out for 6 months, dragging it out for weeks? No, you're gonna let them go pretty quick. How do you work a live crowd when you're nervous? So I cover that very much in How to Be a Rockstar Speaker. 1, have a plan and be confident in your plan. You have to have a plan of what it is you're going to talk about, and that's typically going to involve some form of vulnerability. And I would highly encourage you to teach from a scar, not a wound. Right? Some people, I think, too soon they teach from a wound, an open wound. No, look at the lessons that you've overcome in life and pick one that maybe you're a little nervous to share about, but it would impact the audience. Know what you're going to talk about. It does take repetitions. My first Presenting for Profits module 1, because there's 4 modules, I think. Module 1, I share my speaking experience, and it's not pretty. I was not born a natural speaker. Now, I was at an early age very interested in sales, but I was terrible on video and I was terrible at presenting. It does take reps. It would absolutely require some personal time to make you knock it out of the park your first time. I've helped people do that, but it takes time. You got to have some reps. You got to have some practice in. You do need reps, or you can have practice reps, but you usually want someone like watching over you, which we can do in Revenue Mastery if you have like an upcoming thing. Great book. I don't remember which book I mentioned. What book did I mention? I don't remember. I'm a little bit behind on the comments. What are you selling? So you're saying, what if I don't use a presentation prior to our call? They usually reach out to me from speaking gigs to book a call. So if you're like, I'm curious, what are you selling? Your own coaching or something? Because I will give you a different answer if that's the case. If you're selling like your services or something. What if they tell you they are straight up not interested in your service or product and they don't give any explanation? You say, cool, no problem. Best of luck to you. Like there are people that you're not going to sign up. This is step number 1 is control your emotions. So have I had people that I know I could help, but they don't move forward for whatever reason? Of course, absolutely, for sure. Am I emotionally assaulted by it? Not at all. Nah, I may pray for them. Lord, thanks for helping them. I guide them and direct them. I may pray for them, but I'm not sad face over that. Okay. So if you take them off your list, how does that relate to following up with them till they die? All right. So I love Tom Hopkins. Tom Hopkins, he taught, he follows up until they buy or die. Like, I like that. Just because I said I took you off the list doesn't mean I did. Now, it would delay me greatly, right? So I would definitely take a break, right? I might not reach out to them for 2 months, maybe even 3. But now there are reasons I would take someone off a list. If someone's really nasty to me, I don't want to work with them. I don't have to work with everybody. My personal time. Like have that discernment, have that self-respect that if someone is just rude to you and they're nasty, pray for them, right? Don't be mean to them. Don't trade evil for evil, right? But you don't have to work with them. I mean, I love to find that out quickly. So if someone's nasty, I'll take them off the list, right? I don't want to work with them. Have that level of self-respect where you do disqualify people if they're nasty. But if I just do the 3-step follow-up and tell them, hey, okay, wish you the best. If I come back to them in 2 to 3 months, and this depends on the lead flow. If you're generating a lot of leads, you're probably not reach back out to them. But if you're not, you can reach back out to them and say, hey, I know it's not a fit for you, but do you know anyone that's looking to make an extra $1,000 this month or whatever benefit or feature that you want to bring up? Benefit mainly. Okay. So just because I say I'm a market list doesn't mean I am. How long do you have to access to the training? You have lifetime access. To those who join Revenue Mastery, you get lifetime access to all the modules, all the bonuses. How many people are typically on the weekly coaching calls and how much direct interaction with you do members actually get? So I am the guy on each weekly call, just me. That's not my support or anything else. No one steps in for me. It's me there every single week. I think you may have asked the other question of I may give you homework, which you can actually message me between sessions. And right now we have, I don't know if it's 4 or 5. It's either 4 or 5. If I felt like it got too big, then I would create 2 containers and just see who wants to show up in whichever one. Yeah. You will get direct interaction with me every single week. Is Revenue Mastery for a complete beginner or do you need to have some level of experience? The course, the modules, there's 6 modules. They don't assume anything. Like the way that I teach is I assume you don't know anything, right? I don't make any assumptions there. So any course you ever go through of mine or any bonuses, it's going to assume you don't know anything about that. And I'm going to explain it from the ground floor. Now in coaching, there are some people in there that are advanced. Their questions are going to be different than the new person. My answers are going to be different, but there are people in there that are new. So each week is not, hey, today we're going to cover this topic. It's I go by each person and I mentor you each week. Wherever you are is where my interaction with you is. So so it's not a topic each week. It's you are the topic. So wherever you are. Okay. So an idea of homework assignment. So our first Revenue Mastery student, she's in life insurance. And my homework assignment to her was I looked at her tagline. It was very confusing. So her tagline, very confusing, used to be. And her banner, it just wasn't great. I said, okay, let me give you some ChatGPT prompts. And I want you to come up with one that's going to drive your content. I want one that's clear. And I gave her some hacks of how to make it clear. And we came up with one that is awesome. I mean, it is awesome. And I remember when we showed it to the second Revenue Mastery student, they were like, wow, that's good. So that's an example, right? Is, okay, let me give you some prompts because we got to improve your marketing. I really do like to fix your marketing first because it's pretty fast. And then we create the mantle of what your content will roll under. Most taglines are either too big or too confusing, and they're not attracting anybody. But a good tagline, it is clear, not clever, and it's persuasive, it's attracting. It also drives your content. It's a mantle that your content fits underneath. It's not looking at, okay, what works, but you're going to hate creating content around. It's what is going to be persuasive and powerful, but also you're excited to create content around. Because like I'm excited. Mine is, I help sales reps go from chasing to closing with confidence. I can create content on that every single day. I love it. It's great. That mantle, it's a container for me. It helps me. It's my North Star. Like it's building your North Star. So that's one example. Another example could be, I want you to prospect at least 5 people this week. Come back next week with 2 conversations that we can review. Right. So that'd be another example. So it just depends where you are and where we need to go for your breakthrough. So there you go. Higdongroup.com/start. At least get the free download, right? I mean, it's there. You don't have to opt in, bada bing. I appreciate you so very much. Whether you move forward or not, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the work of your hands. I hope that this has been valuable to you, whether you move forward or not. Those of you who are moving forward, get ready. Because you are about to change. You are going to have breakthroughs and we're going to have a lot of fun.